you're looking for a new manga to lock in with, you come to the right place. I put together a list of the 10 hottest manga of the last year. All of these manga have 40 or less chapters, so you have the opportunity to hop on the bandwagon early before they take off, starting with Gakura Kugai. Gakura Kugai follows Tao and Alma, who work as troubleshooters, which are basically fixers for unconventional problems. They live in a lawless district where humans, beastmen, and mermaids coexist. Everything in their world is motivated by money or food for survival. They tackle all sorts of cases, from fighting cannibalistic murderers and rescuing mermaids. A lot of these manga get pretty dark, and Gakura Kugai is one of them. Society is plagued by malevolent spirits and disaster beasts called Maga, which are basically faceless creatures who are born from the dead. The very first chapter builds up a lot of secrets that I'm sure will unravel throughout the course of the manga, starting with our main character's mysterious origins. I can definitely see this manga becoming one of the faces of Shonen Jump in the next few years. Next we have Ultimate Exorcist Koshi, which, fun fact, happens to be the favorite new manga of Ichiro Auda, the creator of One Piece. Think One Piece combined with Mashle in the Exorcist context. The story follows Koshi, an exorcist who just graduated high school, and he's already the strongest exorcist alive. If I'm remembering right, they might have even said the strongest exorcist in history. Now the problem is, he has one fatal flaw, and that's the fact that he's a complete and utter coward despite being so strong. And what I love about this manga is it's very similar to One Piece, as in sometimes it's extremely goofy, and then out of nowhere, boom, it's serious as fuck. I can definitely see this one getting an anime adaptation at some point. Y'all definitely want to check it out. Number 3 is Ichi the Witch, and if you haven't heard about this one, you might be living under a rock. Ichi the Witch follows a young hunter named Ichi who is living a simple life in the woods. That is, until he accidentally intervenes in a battle between the king of magic and the strongest witch alive. From there, he's catapulted into the fray, but the interesting thing is, only women are allowed to be witches. After he defeats a magic, he becomes the first male witch in history. I'll let y'all read it from there. Next on the list, we have the most controversial manga of the last 10 years, Drama Queen. The setting of Drama Queen is in a futuristic Japan where aliens have been integrated into society and they're living peacefully with humans, allegedly. The integration of aliens to Earth came about because the aliens allegedly saved Earth from a meteorite. The story centers around a human factory worker named Namamoto who is working for a boss who is kind of a dick. An alien boss, might I add, who's a dick, which is kind of important. This is where the controversy comes in. See, she hates the alien newcomers with extreme prejudice. I mean, to the point where it feels racy, like saying the N-word with a hard R. She makes that very clear, very harshly, very reminiscent of racism in real life. So boom, in the first chapter she meets the deuteragonist Kitami, who also hates the aliens because they killed his entire family. They basically end up bonding over their mutual hatred for these alien newcomers. But that's not where the controversy ends, because towards the middle of the chapter, bro comes back to her crib with a dead alien. Bro basically beat the shit out of one of the aliens for absolutely no reason. He had to figure out a way to dispose of the body because if anybody finds out, they will be in trouble and probably get locked up. They find a solution that is kinda insidious. At the end of the chapter, Shorty finds out that she likes the way these aliens taste, and that's where the story takes off from there. There's a lot more to it, but I'll let y'all read it for yourselves. Next up, we have Centurion. If you thought the last few were dark, you might want to buckle up for this one. The story follows a young boy named Julian who happens to be a slave, and guess how he escaped slavery? Guess. I promise you in a million years you won't guess. The answer is he escaped slavery by stowing away on a slave ship. Mind you, this is after killing the blacksmith who his mother sold him to. Now, this doesn't last for long because eventually everyone figures out he's a stowaway and they figured out what he did, and now he's a slave once again. The original plan was just throw him overboard, but he was protected by the rest of the slaves, in particular this woman who was pregnant. For a little while, he becomes real locked in with the community of slaves on this ship. That is, until the ship's captain tweaks and slaughters everybody aboard. Not everybody, but 100 of them, which is a lot of them. Now, him doing so accidentally summons this sea entity that climbs aboard their ship. Now, in exchange of the blood of the 100 souls that were slain on the ship, the sea entity gives its abilities to Julian. So now Julian has the sea entity's abilities and the strength of the 100 sacrificed souls. And as a way to honor Mira's memory, the pregnant woman, he decides to adopt her child and find a new country for them to live in. A whole lot more happens, but I'll let y'all figure it out when y'all read it yourselves. Now, this next one is actually a little bit older than the rest of the manga on this list, but I thought I could sneak it in here because it still has a little bit of that new feel and the premise is really interesting. A lot of you might have heard of Gachi before, but I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all haven't read it. Now, the story takes place in a floating city where the rich live in peak luxury and the poor live in peak slums. I mean, literally living amongst the garbage. The rich elites living in luxury throw all their trash on the ground below, and it's become something called the pit, which is home to trash monsters. There's also a little bit of human trafficking going on in the pits, but we'll get to that. The story follows a boy named Rudo who is accused of murdering his adoptive father and exiled to the pit. Rudo claims innocence and his whole life mission is to figure out the truth behind the murder of his father and who's framing him. He joins an organization called the Cleaners, whose mission is to exterminate the trash beasts, and he meets one of their members named Engine. They become really cool friends. So from there, the story follows Rudo's mission with the Cleaners as he still tries to figure out who murders his father, and also he has to master these powers he has I forgot to mention. I'll let you guys read it from there, but I do have to mention there are some pretty gritty themes in this story. It covers topics from elitism, to classism, to racism, to sexism, to grape. Anybody that's read this, let me know in the comments what you think about it. Next on the list, we have Mad, which is skyrocketing exponentially in popularity because of this one reason. If you squint real hard, sometimes this shit looks like Kaiju number 8. Mysterious alien life forms have invaded Earth and they've wiped off pretty much all of humanity except for a very small sect. And you can't even lie, even the armor on some of these soldiers looks like something out of Kaiju number 8. The story follows a guy named John who's one of the few survivors from Earth and they're looking for a new planet to restart civilization. That is, until they're found and targeted by the aliens again. If you're into the dystopian, end of the world type manga anime medium, this is for you. Another manga that is absolutely skyrocketing in popularity right now is Hero Organization. Hero Organization kind of feels like My Hero Academia at times, but in an end of the world context. It's set in the near future where humanity stands on the brink of extinction, so of course they look to space. And now that I think about it, it kind of feels a little bit more like Kaiju number 8 with a hint of My Hero Academia. Because the planet Earth is in peril due to the threat of these giant monsters from the pits of space called Star Beast. And their only hope to combat these monsters are giant mechanical combat suits. Just like in Kaiju number 8, the main character is this pretty average factory worker, but his son is a genius. And all his friends clown him because they basically say he's living off of his son's reputation. That is, until he dons a combat suit of his own and he has a chance to become a hero. This one is probably one of my favorite ones from the list, and after all the dark shit I just explained, it is definitely a breath of fresh air. Now the last one on the list is called Raise Me Hero, and it has one of the most interesting isekai premises I've seen in a long time. The story starts off with an epic battle between a demon king named Valgar and a hero named Karen. Karen eventually slays the Demon King and his last words are, "I will come back in the next life and destroy you." But plot twist, he comes back in this life as her child. So she's unknowingly raising the reincarnation of the Demon King who she destroyed. So it's like kudos to him for achieving reincarnation, but also it's extremely humiliating because he's getting treated like a baby by the person who killed him. Now since he's his child and he sees the way she cares for the baby, he starts to hate her less and less. Now the only downside of this manga is it's technically a one-shot, but it's really interesting, it's kind of funny, and I have a feeling that eventually it will get turned into a series, so it is worth checking out. So yeah, that's the list I have for you today. Let me know what y'all think of these in the comments and let me know if I missed anything I should add for the next one.